Howdy do, and this is going to be my first gameplay of the Great Ace Attorney. Yes, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I've seen it before, but I've never actually played it. So without further ado,
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide. But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
that moment when you have gun and people see you in front of a dead body. You going to jail, son. Going to jail! Period. At that point, I would probably just give up and be like, well, time to die. It's obviously me, even though I'd have no recollection of actually doing it. But it's so convincing that I've convinced myself that I am in fact guilty. Waiting to decide my fate. What? Nothing. Save your glares, murder. Bold of you to assume I can glare. Eye contact is a struggle for me. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. Which is orange for some reason. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes. And until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Tss, technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, I suppose that wasn't my fault. Relatable. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. Ha ha ha, there you go again apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor, murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. There's nothing to worry about. Strain yourself up, hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. Mind reader, alien race. Anyway, the very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. Also, what's with his bandana? Blowing in the wind. My qualifications don't mean much. Yet. You said the exact same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when this all started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get a study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. Yes, the wind that is billowing around his head. Almost like he's an airhead. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I had to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get a visit from a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has a personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about the procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at our university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke. So I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. Ugh, this is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikutopa. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikutopa. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. Wow. He's such a bro. The boys. Well, as you have no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study abroad in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? Ah, as I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi might have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear! I'm not a murderer! I'm sure that's true, nevertheless. I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You might say, I do. Am I getting married? Is this what this is all about? Am I getting married by accident? I do. But what will the question be? Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course. Defendant, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Ah, it would seem our surreptitious discussions are about to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as a defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be guilty for failing to appear? Get moving! There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. Wow. Yo. I mean, it's one thing to just, like, not to believe I did it. It's another one to be like, who would defend you? You scum of the earth. You absolute trash. You disgusting piece of gum on the sidewalk. Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over, and what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. So this is a courtroom. Very nice 3D modeling. I approve. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the looks of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers have been demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now. You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That is correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for a final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
This is it! This must be the question. Who's gonna defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do?
Well, let's answer I do, because we're not cowards, and we promised.
Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. Yes!
Shifty eye.
What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself.
You'll be...
What?
What are you playing at, Ryunosuke?
Professor Mikotoba told me everything just now before the trial.
He did what?
He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose.
How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off?
No, it's not like that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you...
Yes, I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Tss, Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defense's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really?
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident that he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Oh man, that expression.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Is it therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken? My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job.
Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Yes.
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait.
Ugh, I'm so nervous, I can't even remember that. What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank.
You know me so well.
All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record.
But I can't even find that.
Oh man, I'm screwed. Simple, you can access the court record with the press of E. For inventory. Maybe. If you've ever forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there.
I just have to press E for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose.
There's a list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with E. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, press the Z to go back.
So remember, everything to do with the current case has to be found in the court record. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record. Press R to present. Try it now. R.
Yes!
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Tisk! Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite all these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under grave scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to the matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, and Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there for the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. Best bro. British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor for Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table. Do-do-do-do-do. And introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death? Well, obviously, that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it? Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws the conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder's explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Very well, I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Bro. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikitoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me will be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm the head waiter at the Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up somewhere, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery 3 days ago. Understood, Hosonaga-san. Will you kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident? At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory, but 2, there was hardly anyone else in the place. Him. It was there when I was in the kitchen, putting away the crockery and the cutlery. A gunshot rang out, and so I hurried out into the dining area to see what happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Yes! Hold on! Let me clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him! Objection! I believe I asked for you to refrain your petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But Next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. Ugh. You confirm one more point, leader. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see in court today? Yes, without a question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did you just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over there to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at this table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Let's just wait and see. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I would have never got into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know? If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just gonna shut my eyes and say it. Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me, what are we gonna do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Osanaga-san, is there any chance you are mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. Ahem. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well. Is there a problem? Hand the plan of the court to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. As he dies coughing from tuberculosis. There he goes. Don't cough on us, man. You're gonna infect everyone. I don't think he's been shaken so much as he's dying. So the court has now heard a precis of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? You admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Cosma? What do you mean? Well, I'm gonna be found guilty on one way or another, it seems. I'm gonna be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence. Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Matoga said it, and so has the judge of the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you are innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face, is that it? What? The accused is in fact innocent. And a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocent by whatever means necessary. Are you just gonna abandon that duty? Are you just gonna give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making it empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchi, please continue with the proceedings. Tisk, well, you are warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witness. Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir, the Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant. Yes, no, sir, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employed as a purveyor of fine articles from antiquity, from the efflorescence of our nation Nippon, and conduct my trade from the Rasute, a humble premise in the 2nd District. Kyoryo Korkuta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aromas at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently converse with the interested parties regarding the curios, which I may make my business. I can't understand a word that old man's saying. He's an antique dealer. Sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks our potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he's a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative! The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm. Sir, is there a baby behind him? This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during the last thing he said. So is this the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening? The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir! Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of the most acerbic afternoon. Cerebic afternoon. I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, a cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Noosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired a weapon at the victim? Yes, sir, affirmative, sir. The wicked university cadets, sir, the cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when English gentlemen may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous! I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant when I noticed the English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these two witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial. The defense demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimakey headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How do you know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How could he possibly carry out a cross-examination? Objection. The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Gulp. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Kurenosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what the soldier has said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then, it's all or nothing. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Felt relatable. Same. Listen, Ryunosuke. We know there are lies lurking in these statements. It's time to expose them. I understand that. The question is, how? Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you've collected. You can examine and present evidence while a witness is giving testimony by pressing E. Go through each witness statement and the details about each piece of evidence, and compare all the facts. Somewhere in there you'll find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. An inconsistency? When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seem to contradict each other, present your evidence with R and rip the witness apart. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be giving a penalty. If you're dealt too many penalties, the defense case will fall apart and you will receive a guilty verdict. So that's it. Pursue the evidence in the court record and find an inconsistency with a witness's statement. Alright, I'll give it a try. You can hear the witness's statement over and over again as many times as you like. So keep your head and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner. Wow, he's such a good friend. Okay, there we go. 'Cause it was from the front, not the back. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this insubordination or subordination? Trusting some photographic pinch in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. There is clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. Felt relatable. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. Arrgh, this is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out for you would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at this photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Yesanosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the Englishman civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. But no, that can't just be. Why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet to the chest. Ah. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is clear discrepancy with the facts here. We do not agree, Sergeant Nosa. Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard was proven one thing beyond reasonable doubt. The witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Yeah. There's been a complete turnaround in the mood of this trial from just one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, who was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment that the victim was shot either. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was too busy on the floor. There. Hello. Jaeger, I'm doing the voices for this. Too busy on the floor. Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure. Indeed, the Hoi-era Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Razute, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day of under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I offered my Hoi treasure. Believe that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished? hunting around under the table I was, in case it mayhaps had fallen there, and then it happened. You heard the gunshots, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded them not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoy treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoy Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prized coin for himself. I'm sure everyone present is aware. This case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to the Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Tisk! Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well, the court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kirko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir, at once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative! The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. Huh. It would seem like those straps are a sign of Sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido. Tension! Your father is about to quell the enemy! Watch and learn, my boy! Witness testimony. It's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in the black, that much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These specimens are certainly... Wait! That's nonsense! The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. Ugh. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel? Indeed, of the table which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can be plainly seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that no one else saw that woman. Women. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will have contributed to the amity of these great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to a cross-examine the witnesses. But make it quick, understood? Tisk, rules can be so unbending at times. Ugh. Even what I saw wasn't the precise moment of the firearm was discharged. It's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black-formed uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Ooh. What's the matter? I can't find anything. I can't find a clear discrepancy anywhere. I'm done for. I can't win this trial. No. Listen, the first thing to do is calm down. You can't expect witnesses' statements to be full of holes every time. Hello. So just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. Hi, Ivy. I'm basically doing the voices for this. I don't know if you want to join me or just, spectate. Just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. What do you mean? You can choose to either press or present against each of the witness statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press him on it with Q. With a little luck, you may get more details, which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. The important point is, there's no sense in holding back. If anything even slightly jars with you, press the witness on it and press them hard. Alright, got it. Press them like blocks of tofu! The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. One way or another, this cross-examination is gonna prove I'm right. It's time to press them for all they're worth. My fate depends on it. Oh. I read your comments. Thank you. Alright, so this one... Okay, so press them. Okay.
Yes!
There was a lady there.
Objection!
Objection! As you have been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Arg. If only there had been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. A quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. That's what you would expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This is what was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at the clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Hotel clinic. Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for a date in question. 19th November, noon past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report to be submitted as evidence or not? Be submitted. Yes. Submit your homework. If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention the victim's moments prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for a submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Well, so long as, they don't contradict other people's rights, Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. The victim's report card has been entered into the court record. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You cannot conspire to prolong this trial as much as you'd like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korkuta-san. Indeed, alone he was the Englishman, dining by himself.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What did you say, Cadet? Clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table. Perhaps one of you might have not noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see the proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It's a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. Excellent work, Runosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press space, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use, Okay. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles by using wasad. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. The crosshairs start to pulsate. Press space to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learnt by examining more to detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. We should use up, down, side, side, wasad, and space. Let's have a look. There's some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for a day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this. Anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you from feeling pain. Would be nice. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, didn't you? Definitely. What are you wittering, lad? You call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in the cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, thanks for the advice. Korakuta-san, this is the medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there was no one else besides this pale-faced pupil. And then I can't finish the rest of the insult. The medical report card has nothing to do with the case. You really believe that? What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hoda Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours. Post-procedure while the anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Korakuta-san. What, boy, what? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. No. Expertly done, partner. What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are all just baseless accusations. Just look at the photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke. Yes, most definitely. So just having undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, yes, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been me. It was me. I was eating the steak all this time. I was the other party. Okay, so I think it's this one. Obviously, it could have only been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet, we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was someone else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will have lodged a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma. Are you insane? You would take that on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So it now turns out that the two of you have deliberately lied when giving your testimonies. Obviously, you will have been charged with perjury. Perjury? And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit? In murder? No! Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, just as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oop. Oh. What? You were gaslighting me this whole time, you creeps. What did you just say, Korakuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? ... Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order, counsel. Explain what's going on here. It's painfully clear now. You try to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there'd only be a handful of possibilities. It could have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was who tried to keep the witnesses to keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever really did this, whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before. We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. Well, that's not gonna do you any good, man. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this, Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Yes, we'll blame them. We'll blame the first name that comes into your head. Good. This is a solid plan, reasonable, logical. Besides prosecution, the only person with necessarily influence to manipulate the witnesses is Kazuma. It was you backstabber. No, I'm kidding. Let's go with the waiter, because he has an obviously sus business card. Hosonaga-san, the waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man were truly a waiter. What? If he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit the court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, as proven by this evidence. Yeah, I think it's this one. Well, that's an unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here, the waiter's business card information has been updated. So I'm just, yeah. Hello, hello. So I'm basically doing like the voices for this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure how we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said, the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. What in the world? That's where the telling detail is. Someone please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say. Hosonaga-san sketched his plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man's in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession, but that's surely... Goodness gracious. That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it, in fact, the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga! I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well. Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act a little strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant lately. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at the liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, Clearly, you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, a gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady who I had guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an English woman as a primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young English woman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. The court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. It's like almost similar to Jezebel, but they just changed the letters around a little bit. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence from the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with the situation. Very well, my thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise, namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that the premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give ruling at this point. But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send a telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Ah! Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Dies. Nothing will get in my way. Except death and sickness. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Okay, my voice hurts, so I'm gonna cut it there for today. Skibidi, yes.